Welcome back to Reviews on the Run. Before the break, we talked about Microsoft's presence here at E3 2010. Now it's time to put PlayStation in the hot seat. Ben, what did you think of what PlayStation had to show us?
Well, once I woke up from their press conference, I mean, I was snoozing through half of that thing. It just went on and on and on. And, Sony obviously made huge strides last year, and I think this year they kind of felt like they could coast a little bit and just show, here's some of the stuff that we've got, some sequels, some other products that we got coming out.
Something was up, right?
Yeah, it felt like they weren't really stepping on the gas as hard as I wanted them to.
Yeah.
They went really big with 3D, and of course we're going to talk all about 3D for the next, 365 days,
Yeah.
but I'm a little on the fence about what they went with. I was really excited to see The Last Guardian, and this was the most exciting game of the show for me last year, and it wasn't even at their press conference. It's not out at their booth. I thought that was a big miss.
You kept asking about The Last Guardian everywhere, man.
Yeah, because I'm a huge fan of Shadow of the Colossus,
Absolutely.
and I don't know where it is. I don't know why you go dark with that this year. I felt like at the beginning of the press conference, they generated a lot of goodwill. I was feeling upbeat, and then the air went out of the room, and they could never fill it up again.
I disagree 100%. I thought the air was injected into the room when that guy from the commercial came out and gave that stirring Gamers Manifesto.
That's it. And then after that, it was all...
I thought there was a good showing of games. I did think the 3D was cool. I thought they made a great showing with a whole bunch of titles that are coming out really soon.
Yeah.
I think Little Big Planet 2 looks amazing.
But it was a series of commercials and B-roll and loud music, and then all of a sudden, here's another product shot, flash of game. We saw the same games over and over again.
This is interesting. Did you have a game that really kind of stood out for you at the show that you went, oh my God, this is what I cannot wait to play on PlayStation 3?
I think Killzone 3 looks amazing. I think Infamous 2 is going to be amazing. I think Little Big Planet, I think they have a very solid software lineup coming, and they put the emphasis there.
I do think that after going to see a lot of the games at the booth, but I think in the press conference as opposed to last year, they cluttered it with a lot of extra stuff, like even Little Big Planet. I remember the reveal, I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, where they actually used gameplay to give you all the statistics about what the game could do. Thought that was incredible. And last year we had Uncharted 2 and Assassins and God of War 3, and I don't know.
But we had Gabe Newell come out and eat crow about the PS3.
That was a highlight, absolutely.
And Portal 2 is a big deal. That's a big deal, and nobody else showed
Steam
that
as well.
Eating
Steam is a
crow
big
is
deal
huge.
too.
But I think there was a lot of high moments, but I felt like it was super long.
It says something about their press conference that the highlight was Kevin Butler's appearance. That was when there was the most energy in the room.
Yeah.
The highlight should have been the games, not the guy from the commercials coming out.
That's kind of how I felt.
Playing a character, right?
I can't wait to play Killzone 3, but it didn't have that same resonance. I didn't leave the conference with that high that I got from Uncharted 2 and
one of the
God of
points
War
you
3.
made is the mixed messaging. And here's SOCOM in 3D, here's SOCOM with Move now.
Yeah.
Which game are you buying?
That's a big challenge. Jose, what did you think of what Sony's got to show us this year?
I would have liked to see a new PSP.
Yeah, that's a
especially
big
after
disappointment.
The sort of failure of the PSP Go.
Yeah.
And I would have liked a new PS3, but failed there too.
A new PS3?
Just give me one.
He didn't get an
Jose
Xbox,
just
so he
wants a
deserves
console,
something.
right?
I go through these things like, man,
Yeah, there's a new precedent in E3 now. We want free
It's
stuff.
the best trend ever.
consoles,
Just money actually would be awesome. Here's a check.
You know what else would have been nice? And I think the thing that made it feel so dull to me, and Jeff, you were right, they definitely had
They had great games.
but did they have any new games? Was everything there a franchise?
Gran Turismo 5 got a release date.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Finally. After 7 years.
Twisted Metal's another reboot. I've seen all of these games before.
Sorcery is
Sorcery looks like it's going to kick Harry Potter's ass.
Expecte Patronum.
This is a big deal, though, this idea that you're going to choose what game to buy with Move, what game to buy with 3D. I mean, they'll all come bundled, but I think there's going to be consumer confusion when they walk into the store. Does this do 3D? Does this do Move? I know nobody's got 3D.
I think that's actually an excellent point, is that what they should have revealed is some sort of easy consumer guide of what do I need to have 3D. And actually the pricing on Move was
very
smoke and mirrors.
Yes.
It was
very
convoluted and odd.
Even the way that the 3D glasses work, Vic kept putting them on. We didn't even know there was an on button. I don't even know why they have to turn on. Explain the technology a little bit to us. And I feel that while we're on the subject of Move, I feel like Move is an embarrassment almost. Watching Sony, a juggernaut in the industry, try and play catch-up with Nintendo is embarrassing.
It certainly looks like that is the case there. And, you know, from both of the big competitors to Nintendo, they look like they're kind of chasing the tail a little bit here.
Isn't it funny, though, how so much has changed in the last year? Last year was like, oh, Nintendo's got to catch up because Sony and Microsoft are blowing things out of the water. Now it's like, well, now they're trying to catch up to Nintendo.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, and that's a good segue because we're going to come back with Nintendo. But first, what did you think of Sony's presence if you had to score it?
If I had to score it, I'd give them an 8 out of 10 for the presence. I just wish the press conference hadn't been 2 hours long.
All right, Ben?
I'm just bored of Sony. I'm giving them a 6.5.
Wow.
6.
I'm going to give it a 7. What are you going to give it?
6.5.
6.5, Jeff?
Give me an 8.
All right. Liked it better than 360.
I like it.
Okay, when we come back, it's Nintendo, and you might be shocked.
Woohoo!
Welcome back to the show. Vic and I are at E3 with some of our favorite friends.
Absolutely.
In the universe.
That we don't get to
Recognize
see
these guys.
enough.
I know, it's great to see. It's
We
great
see
to
them
have
on TV.
Jeff on
It's
the
like
show.
the globe from your set has just condensed into one point.
I wish we could do this every week or something. How do we make
Someday
that
we
happen?
will. Let's turn our attention to Nintendo.
Yes.
Let's start with you, Victor Lucas. You are on the hot seat. Go, Nintendo.
It took restraint from me not to get captivated and carried away like a fanboy, like
I saw a guy clutching his chest.
Oh, there was. I think it was justified this year that to have that much passion for what Nintendo did because every one of their characters was brought up on a screen and on stage.
But they got off to kind of a rocky start.
They did. Yeah. I asked Miyamoto about that too,
What did he
about
say?
what he felt about the Wii Motion Plus. There was interference with the machine, and he was sweating. He said he was kind of freaking out. And he said there was always some interference issues with the Wii Mote and trying to do all the controls up on stage like that. But this was the worst one, and it was kind of terrifying. You don't want to see Miyamoto in that uncomfortable
No, I felt
position.
terrible for him,
Yeah.
Jeff. I know you're a huge fan of the Sony press conference and Sony's presence at the show.
Yeah.
What is your reaction to Nintendo?
I think Nintendo completely hit the ball out of the park. They
Yeah.
were clearly the winners as far as the press conferences go. It's amazing to me when the least impressive thing that I saw was Zelda.
They start with that, right?
Nintendo conference, and it went up from there.
Yeah.
The 3DS is stunning.
It really is.
And the fact that it really is 3D without glasses, and they brought in a horde of beautiful ladies to demonstrate it for us. We can all
Hundreds of women.
walk in and
Some
check
of
it
them,
out.
some duds, but most of them were pretty good.
And that Kirby game looks amazing.
It looks
Donkey
super
Kong
fun, yeah.
Country is
We got
back.
GoldenEye back. Is
Yeah.
it
Incredible.
Yeah.
But is there too much retro, do you think, Jose?
I mean, that's what Nintendo does. They're known for reestablishing their franchises, and you know, like I was going into the press conference saying Nintendo's going to announce a teleporter, and they showed Miyamoto on the screen. All of a sudden, boom! He teleports out. I was like, there it is. Nintendo's going to start teleporting
That
people.
was all very
They're
charming.
teleporting their old school games back to the future. Man.
They had trouble kind of presenting what the 3DS was going to be, though, and I think that's going to be a difficult thing. What do you think, Ben?
Well, you know, just to Jeff's point about the Sony conference, I think the reason why the Sony conference didn't resonate so much with me was because we had just left a conference where we were able to see 3D without a television that's fancy, without the glasses.
Yeah, Reggie really took the...
And they really took the wind, I think,
They
out
really
of
did,
Sony's sales with that presentation. And once you get your hands on that thing, and we have seen it and had our hands on it, I think it really might be the most stunning piece of hardware at the show, which is saying a lot considering how much hardware is at the show.
It might be the most stunning piece of hardware that Nintendo's ever made. You know, especially because it's so stealthily
This is
kind
a
of came out for us.
25-year-long overdue apology for Virtual Boy.
Exactly.
It really
They
is,
finally
right?
got it right. It only took them 2.5 decades.
And they got us all to overlook the fact that they didn't reveal price and they didn't reveal release
No,
day.
nobody did,
They're
right?
saying
Except for the
2011.
Move, which was confusing.
One major disappointment was that when the models came out with the 3DSs, they didn't actually just hand them off to us. I thought that was coming. I thought we were going to see a repeat of the Xboxes for all.
just wants
we
more
would be
free
walking
stuff
home with
too.
3DSs.
Well,
I mean, the thing is closed. I don't understand how they kept this device a secret.
I really agree
Reggie
with
has
that,
said it's launching by the end of March of next year. So this thing is
crazy.
getting close to pretty fully baked.
Yeah. The thing about the 3DS, I discovered this in the demo that I got, is you can't really sit off center at all. It has to be perfectly
It is a
precise.
personal gaming
it's
device.
super
You cannot
personal.
have to sit off the
Which is it was
No, but
exactly,
it's super personal, and I bet you can't even move your head to the side.
It's
And
the
I'm not,
exact
it's not a quibble.
opposite of the DSi XL.
Exactly.
It's funny.
But I think that's also very cool. But it really kind of got me thinking about when this technology comes to the bigger screens. You know, when do we get this as a television proposition, and will we ever?
I was as skeptical as they come, and as soon as you hold it and look at it, it really delivers on the promise.
I think one of the coolest things about the 3DS is the ability to take photographs and
That is amazing.
move around inside of the photograph that you're taking.
I want to know where the vitality sensor is.
That
I'm so
disappeared.
glad they didn't
It's at
talk about
Ubisoft.
it.
Yeah.
I talked to Reggie about that actually just a few minutes ago. He said that there's so much. You want to show your most energetic, kind of dynamic products at E3.
Yeah.
A device that is all about relaxing and thinking didn't have a place here. I'm not sure why it had a place here.
Well, why are they just figuring that out this year? The Nintendo produced stuff for the Wii is still the best stuff, and by far. You know, like they really need to share their secrets, I think, a little bit more with their partners.
It's a little too late, I think, in the game for the Wii with Nintendo for that. I mean, that's the story of the GameCube. That was the story of the N64. That's the story of the Wii. I think it's too late for them to turn that around. Despite how great they were with leveraging all of their brands and bringing GoldenEye back in and really wowing people, Wii Party as being the next, they were calling it the bridge game, like Wii Fit and Wii Play. I was like, they're finally trotting out a party game?
Yeah.
Oh, that went brilliant. Party on the Wii.
That was
like,
absolutely the low point.
Really, like, I think that was their big miss of their show.
The sports game looked all right, though, as far as those go. Yeah. All right, well, let's score it up. Steve, what would you give the Nintendo conference?
8.5.
Presents. 8.5.
8.5.
Ben?
Going with an 8.
8.
9 for me. I was really blown away with the DS.
8.5 for me.
8.5.
I'm agreeing with Scott. 9.
Yeah, it's a very, very impressive turnaround for Nintendo. And when we come back, we're going to talk about our favorite things that we saw at the show and maybe some of the disappointments as well. We'll be right back.